Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Women with Good Chat. I'm here with my good buddy Pam.
Good afternoon, Amanda.
How are you?
It's later in the day today. I'm good.
It is, and we're on different sides, so this is
It's different sides.
potentially confusing.
And I've had 3 cups of coffee, so we're like,
We're ready to go.
There we are.
So we wanted to explore, as we mentioned in our last episode, so Pam did a trip to Egypt, and our theme was life through the lens of travel. And we wanted to touch on the impact that this trip has had.
Yes, absolutely.
And how it's impacted things in your day-to-day life back here in Toronto.
Yes, absolutely. Because I have really noticed a difference. And I've mentioned that to you a few times.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody I've seen lately is sick of hearing me mention my trip to Egypt. Can we move on to something else? But no, it's been tremendously impactful. And what it's not so much Egypt that was the issue with what we were talking about today.
Yeah.
What it was that this trip that I did was unusual for me in that I did exactly what I wanted. I gave myself permission to really do a trip of a lifetime in a way that for me had absolutely no compromises. Usually in my life with a lot of things I do, I have what I want to do, but then when I'm deciding to do it, I'm constantly massaging it around other obligations, right? So
Totally.
Is that the right time to go? Is this, should I be going with other people, more people? How much should I be spending? Is this a responsible thing to do at this time? But with this trip, it was just, I'm turning 60. This is what I'm doing. I'm going with who I want, when I want. I am spending the money that a trip like this deserves. And I'm prioritizing me.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one of the things we discussed is this a selfish act? And it absolutely isn't. Because I think when you go away, especially when you do a trip like that, and the culture is so different that when you come back, the impact is huge. I mean, maybe not for everybody,
Absolutely.
but it certainly had a huge impact.
It's had a
on you.
huge impact on me, both in terms of, a little bit what we talked about last week about just seeing my life here, the things I have, the beautiful place I live, the freedoms I have, okay, which we take for granted constantly, I think, in this part of the world. It's made me appreciate that. But it's also given me a tremendous amount of energy to come back to do the things here that, frankly, I don't always love doing. Lots of us don't love the housework, don't love all the financial stuff, don't love a lot of the stuff we have to do day to day. It's the right thing to do, right? But I think by giving ourselves a permission every now and then to go and do something that's just about us, just for us, when you come back to the things that you've got to do, it's with a renewed energy, and it is without resentment, which can become cultivated, right? We can start bubbling up with a bit of resentment and things. This, decision I made to just do this, do what I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted, seems to have eased a lot of that. And I have come back with, frankly, a much better attitude.
Exactly. And look how much taller you are now. Go to Egypt.
You'll grow
6
inches.
inches. But that is true.
That is true.
Resentment, not just getting taller, but resentment can kind of bubble up inside you.
Yep.
And it's not just a mind game, it's a physical impact.
It isn't, yes.
And
You're absolutely
when
right.
you can go away, or if you go, I'm going to do yoga once a week, whatever your deal is, whatever is going to give you that renewed energy and boost to deal with the day-to-day stuff. And yes, at this stage of life, we're still dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And whatever your bankroll is, however you're going to do it, I think to give yourself permission to do something like this is very essential to the whole family dynamic.
I think it's really true. And I think especially, we were talking about when I was younger, those compromises we made for everybody else, they felt different in a way because it was very clear, as we've talked about before, who we were doing them for, why we were doing them. We were moving things forward. And it was clear what the way forward was, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get your finances in order. You're working so that you can do that. You're, you know, shepherding your kids with however much they need. All of that's going on, and there's a purpose. Then at some point you stop and you go, hey, right? Like, I can't keep doing that forever for everybody else, right? Believing that the day is going to come when that is going to change, right? And that's when I think when we start having those thoughts about exactly what are we doing this for, exactly how much longer do we have to push forward on this road, the resentment starts to bubble a bit. So choosing something that you really want to do, that's really just about you, I think helps get rid of some of that.
Oh, absolutely. And it is a difficult time because, as we've mentioned in other episodes, the path isn't clear.
No.
Now, necessarily.
No.
So yeah, when you're super busy, when you're in your 20s and 30s or early 40s and you're having kids and raising kids and working and doing all this stuff, yeah, life is crazy, but there's a path.
There's path, absolutely.
The path here is complicated, it's different, and impacts people differently in many different circumstances.
Yes.
But you have to allow yourself some sort of renewal.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
some sort of way to appreciate again what you have. And
Yes.
it's very key and it's important. You need to do it for yourself.
You really need to do it for yourself. So this was a good thing for me. I don't know what it translates for other people, but I really think it's worthwhile, first of all, taking some time to think about what it might be for you, but also then testing that theory. Because sometimes you think things are going to do it and they don't.
Yes.
Right? So you think, oh, this is actually what I think I should do. This is what's going to fulfill me. Then you start through that path. It's the wrong path. Leave the path. Leave the path and try something else, right? Don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things, like if you had to name 3 things that were your takeaway where you came back and like, I really appreciate this?
So I think I really appreciate that I have the space that I have. I mean, I have now been to a country, particularly when we were in the big cities, where it was really obvious that people are living in very small spaces, that there's very little outside space that they have. There's very little room for privacy and thing. You come home to this and it's like, wow. I think, you know, my life with my friends, right? Because I was away for enough time that when I came back, I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you, seeing other people talk, right? So that was another thing. And I think also the financial freedom that I have, because, you know, as you and I have talked about, financial, I worry about finances.
Sorry,
that's our dog. That's somebody else I missed. But I worry about finances a lot. I worry about how things are going, how things are going to be. So this also gave me a true perspective that is, I'm actually not in any of those circumstances.
Right.
98% of the world, people worry about paying their rent. They worry about buying food. They worry about clean water. So, right, that resets a reasonableness in me about what I really should be worried about. And that's not it.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That's not it. So,
And I
yeah.
think when you can do a trip like that, whether it's Egypt or something maybe a little closer, you do have an appreciation for the basic things. And I know that sounds whatever,
Yeah,
but it
no.
really is true. And it is sometimes that you bring that back.
Yeah.
And this impact has been rippling out for you. Like it really has.
Absolutely.
And I think that's wonderful because you need to still keep going on and figuring out how you're going to lead your life, but to have an appreciation and a renewed interest and renewed energy, as we
Absolutely.
keep touching on, is so
Yep.
important.
Absolutely. And I think it is very easy to get complacent. And as we've talked about, as our lives, you know, if we aren't out working every day, if we aren't out with our kids every day, if we aren't interacting as much with the rest of the world, because our lives are slowing down, it's that much easier to let the small things, dare I say the unimportant things, right? You know, take too large a place in what we're worried about, and also the things we do have, stop appreciating them. Okay, so the narrower your life becomes, I think, the more there's the danger of that.
Yeah.
Right, in doing that. So the broader experience we have, the different groups of people we meet, the different things we see help combat that complacency about how fortunate we are, and also I think give us back that energy to appreciate the good things we have.
Exactly, and in a way, we experience that to a degree because we both volunteer, so we get to see a little bit of another side.
Absolutely.
And it kind of refocuses you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Not the same impact as a trip like that, but it does kind of refocus you
Yes.
on the fact that maybe you don't have everything you have, but you have food,
Right,
shelter,
absolutely. No,
and all those things.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
so sometimes when you volunteer, it helps refocus as well. What do you think will be the impact on you, say, going forward, in terms of what you want to do for the next year? How do you envision that?
You know what I think? I think it is going to take away, as a person ruled by guilt, it's going to take away some of that guilt, which sometimes stops me from doing things. So let's say it's a beautiful afternoon. I want to go on a hike. Lots of things I should be doing. I might just go on that hike. And I might go on that hike. I may give myself permission to do that with the understanding that if I do, I'm going to come back better and more able to engage. So a belief in that principle, which is not something I've experienced a lot in my life. So that's what I think. I will give myself more permission to do the things which I think are going to make me happy, expand, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, with the belief that I will come back better able to do what I have to do every day.
Exactly. And the thing is that everything will still keep going on. And the people in our lives that we think need us unconditionally,
They're ticking along.
they can probably survive without us for a
absolutely.
little bit.
Absolutely.
2 weeks, few hours, whatever
Absolutely.
it is.
I think that's true.
Well, I think this was very inspirational. I love this trip
Okay,
for
well,
you.
thank you,
I love
thank
hearing
you.
about it. I'm not tired of hearing about it.
Okay,
so
yeah, I
keep telling
said,
me
are
about
people
it.
tired of hearing?
Not at all. And as always, we'd love to hear what you think about our episode. Please drop some comments below, and we
Absolutely.
look forward to seeing you next time on
Women with Good Chat.
We'll see you again. Take care.
Chat
Bye.
soon.